Things are so bad in the Kalenjin land, and the Kalenjin leaders who are close allies to President William Ruto, they have started fighting one another vehemently. In fact, they've started campaigning one another, telling others to get out of William Ruto's camp, saying others are one term. And these are the people who are supposed to come together to try to bring together votes for President William Ruto. So in as much as it's benefiting their interests, it is affecting President William Ruto's political base, and that is the Rift Valley. This has emerged after Oscar Sudi launched an attack on the woman representative was Nigishu Gladys Bosholei, saying that she is a one-term woman representative and that she should not be elected. In fact, in that function, Oscar Sudi urged those women who are aspiring to become woman representatives in that county, they should work so hard so that they send away this woman by the name Gladys Bosholei. If you're wondering who is Gladys Bosholei, maybe you don't know who she is, but I'll give you a detailed information later. But remember, this Gladys Bosholei is a close ally. Let me say she was a close ally to President William Ruto, and she worked so hard during the 2022 campaign. She really campaigned for President William Ruto to an extent where she even forgot to campaign for herself. And during the announcement of the presidential or the president-elect in Bomas, you saw how much she did what she did. She went even 2 days without bathing, because she was there watching William Ruto's vote. She worked hard, but it has reached a point where now the people within the circle of President William Ruto, they are fighting one another and they don't want that woman. So if you see Oscar Sudi saying that, it means there is fire in the mountain. First, let us listen to what Oscar Sudi said about Gladys Sholei.
Na women rep, nimeona mmesimama wengi sana. Mungangane. Ule women rep wetu akwende nyumbani. Pole pole aende nyumbani. Unajua tusidanganyane, tuambiane ukweli. Hauwezi ukakosa functions zote uonekani anyway, na ukionekana uko tu na kelele. Nilikuwa naona juzi amelete wanangangana na gavana manana ya kulas. Kulas ni account. Ule mama wetu angekuwa hapa eti angekuwa natupanga panga hapo, lakini hapatikani. Hii maneno ya kupiga kura free tuache. Na hii county hakuna mtu alichaguliwa kukuwa pakasi ya watu wengine. Leo mimi nawaomba kabisa, na naomba kwa heshima.
Yeah, that is what Oscar Sudi said. In fact, he decampaigned Gladys Sholei publicly, and that tells you something. Yeah, you may not be a political analyst, but sometimes you may see when fire is on top of the mountain, and there is fire in Kalenjin. Unless President William Ruto moves in a quick or rather moves quickly to try and control this hatred that is being built amongst the people within William Ruto's circle, then you'll realize that things are not gonna be okay for President William Ruto. Especially, you know, right now William Ruto is banking so much on his base, that is the Rift Valley. He's banking so much on the people from his home place to vote for him. That is why during the funeral service of the father of the cabinet secretary, Churchill Davis, President William Ruto switched off from English and lectured the people, the Kalenjin people, telling them that they've reduced him to a beggar because he's moving from community to community to beg for votes. Yet the people who are supposed to, to support him, who are supposed to be his pillar, especially from Kalenjin land, they are not registering as voters. Others have reached the age of getting or registering as or rather getting the identification cards, but they've not done that. Therefore, he was lecturing them, telling them that they are the people who should protect him, they should secure him by having these voting cards. And that tells you something. So whatever is happening right now, remember I've given you details about Boss Sholei. She was the left hand woman. I don't know whether we have that name, but she was the mtu wa mkono wake President William Ruto sana. I don't know where the rain started beating her. I don't know what happened in between 2022 and now. Because when you see Oscar Sudi saying that means Gladys Sholei is not together. He's not in the same boat with the President William Samoei Ruto. Others are saying that Gladys Sholei's problems started during the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua. In that morning, during the hearing of the case of the impeachment in the Parliament and in the Senate, Gladys Sholei went to the media saying that Rigathi Gachagua should rot in prison. Something that angered Gachagua so much. To an extent, he left alone other things that he was replying to while in Parliament. He replied to Gladys Sholei. In fact, it was in Senate. He replied to the not Senate. He was in Parliament. He replied to Gladys Sholei, telling her that he remembers everything she did to him when he was arrested for fighting for President William Ruto by the former regime of Uhuru Kenyatta. He told her that he remembered the good things she did by bringing him tea and trying to mobilize people to do an Arambe where they raised some millions to secure his bail out of the cell. So Gachagua told her, though in a very hurting tone, that he will never, forget all about what Sholei did. Watch this video.
Honorable Boss Sholei, I heard what you said. Dorrit, I heard this morning that you said I should be charged with treason. But my sister, me, I'm a grateful man. I remember, and I'll never forget. During the last administration, when I was arrested on fabricated charges, starting with the President William Ruto against the wish of the government at that time, that is, Boss Sholei came and sat with me at DCI headquarters, brought me tea, brought me lunch, sat with me, comforted me. At court, she coordinated the collection of 12.5 billion shillings as my cash bail. She came to see me in Gigiri for 4 days and had very kind words for me. Despite what you have said, my sister, I do remember that one good thing that you did for me.
So it is said that since Rigathi Gachagua told her all this in Parliament, from that moment henceforth, Gladys Sholei has known no peace. Politically, she has known no peace. In fact, recently, in Moiben, when she went there, she was shouted upon as if she was a phone snatcher. She was shouted as if she's a mad woman. She was shouted as if she's a thief by the same people who elected her. She was shouted down upon. Yeah, it is something that happened. I did it here. We did an analysis. I know you saw the video. Akifukuzwa. In fact, she tentatively was told to get out of that event. So they are saying that whatever Rigathi Gachagua told her, because the way Rigathi Gachagua was speaking with a very hurting tone, it indicates that Gladys Sholei and Rigathi Gachagua, they had shared something in common. They had shared some secrets, yeah, And now, when he realized that Gladys Sholei has turned and she was the first person to stab Rigathi Gachagua from the back, she in fact she tentatively hit Rigathi Gachagua from the back. That thing really hurt Rigathi Gachagua to an extent of talking to her independently, telling her that he will never have a grudge with her. But then things have never turned well since that point. I don't know what you think, but you should know that when a tribe, especially a political base of a certain leader, starts dissociating, starts having divisions, that is the end of that leader. So that tells you that President William Ruto, if this continues, if the hatred continues among the people in his circle, then he is headed home. I don't know what you think. Rate your comment down there in the comment section. Let us talk, let us discuss. Perhaps it can form a basis of whatever we're gonna talk about in the next video. So if you're new here, consider subscribing, liking and sharing our content. Hit the notification bell so that you can be receiving notifications each and every time we bring you a new content.